Now that we've discussed solutions to inequalities, let's talk about how to solve linear inequalities. This is going to be almost identical to solving linear equations. There's really only one difference. So the one difference we have is that if we know A is less than B, multiplying or dividing by a positive number leaves my inequality alone. However, multiplying or dividing by a negative number means I need to flip my inequality symbol. Let's start with a super simple example. X plus 4 is less than 6. When I'm dealing with an equation, the first step would be to subtract 4 from both sides. So that's what I do now as well. That then leaves me with x is less than 2. Typically, we want to give these answers in interval notation, which would be the interval from negative infinity to 2. We use parentheses on negative infinity always, and since we are not including 2, we'll need to use a parenthesis on the 2. We then want to graph this, so if we have 0 here, here's 1 and 2. We would have an open dot on 2, and we would shade below. So now I have my solution and the graph. For my next example, I have 3 minus 2x is less than or equal to 5. My first step is going to be to subtract 3 from both sides. So we subtract 3 from both sides, and that leaves me with negative 2x is less than or equal to 2. We then divide both sides by negative 2, and we need to remember that since we're dividing by a negative, we need to reverse the direction of the inequality. So that leaves me with x greater than or equal to 1. In interval notation, we would need to be going from negative 1 to infinity since we want bigger numbers. We use a parenthesis on infinity always, and then the square bracket on negative 1. To draw the graph, we would need a closed dot on negative 1 since we're including it, and we're considering larger numbers, so we'll shade to the right. Let's do one more harder example. So here I have a much larger inequality. 3x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 2 times 1 minus 2x plus 2x. Our first step will be to distribute to get rid of our parentheses. So we have 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times negative 2x is minus 4x. So we have 3x minus 8 greater than or equal to 2 minus 4x plus 2x. We can then combine like terms. And that gives us that 3x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 2 minus 2x. Our next step is to get all the variables on the same side. I can subtract 3x from both sides, or I can add 2x to both sides. I'm going to choose to add 2x to both sides so we can avoid dealing with negatives. That leaves me with 5x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 2. In order to get the constants on the same side, I need to add 8 to both sides. So I have 5x is greater than or equal to 10. Finally, I divide both sides by 5, and I get that x is greater than or equal to 2. In interval notation, I would have a square bracket and a 2 since I'm including 2. And then I need to go all the way up to infinity since I care about all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 2. If I try to graph this, we have 0, 1, 2. We would need a closed dot at 2, and we would shade to the right since we're larger.